What's up, the squad? Back with another video. I see in the title what's going down. Make sure you hit the like button, that subscribe button for me, please. Y'all see it in the title. So, got more Zohran Mamdani. Things are coming out each and every day, as y'all can see. I know a lot of y'all are on X. I know a lot of y'all are on TikTok, YouTube, and different, social media platforms. And y'all constantly see there's more and more coming out about this Zohran Mamdani, about a lot that he's doing, a lot that he's causing. And, y'all see the destruction, is leading to. This video in particular right here says my NYPD will continue to not be assistants of ICE. So as y'all know, Zohran Mamdani is, wanting, to defund the police. Not only that, he also, obviously, is against ICE. And y'all see how many times I've made posts about what is his name, y'all? Brandon Johnson, and seeing, what Brandon Johnson, was about. And the funny thing about this, this whole thing is that they always want to talk crazy about the police officers and defund the police and do this and do that, but they use them for their own protection, which is pretty crazy. Check it out right here.
Commissioner Tisch received a heads up from ICE that raid would occur on Canal Street. Now, apparently she did give the Adams administration a heads up. If you were in his shoes, how would you have reacted to this? Would you have said, yes, NYPD officers do not interfere with ICE, but how would you have acted as mayor?
What I will continue to do is be someone who will stand up for New Yorkers when Donald Trump is seeking to fulfill his promise to create the single largest deportation force in American history. And my NYPD will continue to not be of assistance to ICE whenever they are trying to terrorize New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs.
Should she act in the right way?
I think that it's important to continue a separation between NYPD and ICE, and I think it's important to bring an end to a chapter which Eric Adams said on national TV where he opened the door to civil immigration enforcement.
Let me tell y'all something. It's definitely necessary. We see really all across the country on how bad things can be, without having that help. We've seen multiple times that ICE agents have gotten hurt. And things have, had happened, when it comes down to it. I'm pretty sure I haven't read too much on it, and I'm sure somebody will comment and say, but this is the same person that's been talking crazy about, police officers. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, something that happened, something that happened actually to a police officer today. Yesterday, I'm not sure, but I seen it, and I should have really looked look more into it, but so post right here. My thoughts, and this is a post by Zohran Mamdani. Says, my thoughts are with the NYPD officer who was shot this morning in Brownsville. And I'm praying for his recovery. I'm grateful to law enforcement for their quick response, and I will continue to monitor the situation as it develops. Literally, people are literally commenting, saying that he said multiple things about the NYPD, talking crazy about the NYPD, and you see that something has happened, and y'all see how, what his response is. The main thing about, this Zohran Mamdani is that he is full of it. I know a lot of y'all know that, but he's truly full of it. And it just goes to show you, how disgusting people could be. I mean, this is literally Zohran Mamdani's post. I mean, it literally defund the NYPD. What we need is to defund the NYPD. And he said, at times that he has never said this. And this is a legit post that he's made on his X account of literally saying defund it, dismantle it. We need to defund the police, get them out of matters they have no business in, free the thousands locked up unjustly, and invest the savings in those most impacted by the state violence. Let me tell y'all something. One thing about it, and this is exactly why, part of the reason, I do this is to show everybody who these individuals truly are. It used to be, and the crazy thing is, it used to be so many people commenting under my post, and they would say something, they would support an individual, and say, oh, well, Recklezz, you're lying. And, I still get those DMs, those messages here and there. But a lot of the times that, I have those people that actually, watch these videos and actually pay attention, because a lot of people are told lies. A lot of people are brainwashed, and don't see actually what's going on, around them. Even though I'm not, and I'm sure a lot of y'all are not, I haven't really been too much of a fan of Piers Morgan. I don't know about y'all, but one thing about it, he made a point. And this is posted by Benny Johnson, so y'all can go check it out.
And he's a radical, too. And some of his radical Islamic ties, I mean, y'all experienced that in London as well.
Sure. So look, Obama, compared to Mamdani, is not radical. Let's be clear. I mean, if you look at Mamdani, the defund the police stuff that he was openly posting, you would have thought that would be a disqualifying thing for a mayor of New York City. You would just think if you call the NYPD a bunch of racists who have to be defunded, in other words, just stopped, you would think that person could never become the mayor. He's trying to pretend that he is, a nice little sheep. He's not. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's a proper socialist who's going to whack people in New York. And the day of reckoning will come when he actually has to pay for all this stuff. And, there is nowhere in the world where you can point to where actual socialism over any sustained period has worked.
And literally everybody has said that. Everybody has said that. Literally everybody. And I don't know why he thinks that he's just going to be that individual that's going to get those things working. He's not. I mean, you obviously see, I put a video up yesterday and it just showed you how many businesses are leaving, how many businesses are saying that, oh, this is not going to work. You know how many people are literally calling up Florida like, hey, y'all, we move, those realtors, we about to leave. We leave and we coming to y'all. We need houses. I'm telling y'all. Definitely insane. Literally has it here. Says Zohran Mamdani wants to take $1 billion from the police budget in 1 year and move it to social services.
Are you for defunding the police? Are you for a serious reform that people can see on the ground?
I am in favor of defunding the police.
Can you elaborate?
Yes. What that means is that right now in New York City, we have a budget of close to $6 billion for the New York City Police Department. And that is an astronomical figure.
Wow.
And I think that what we need to do is not chip away $1 million or $5 million. I think in this first year, we need to take $1 billion out of that budget. And I think that we need to reinvest that money into social services.
So as y'all see, it says this is the same Zohran Mamdani who said he would defund the police by $1 billion and wants to use a law enforcement protection for himself, but not for New Yorkers. This, honestly, and I'll say this a million times, and this is not to frighten anybody, have somebody feeling some type of way, this, that, and the other. This is literally just going to show y'all this is important. This should literally scare, New Yorkers. I don't want to, make it seem bad, but doing something like that, I'm telling y'all, this is even crazier. This is New York Police Department. It's educating, and this, again, there's a lot of things that's going on. This is the police department educating the public on how to properly wear a hijab. Oh, my.
So I'm going to give you a little example. You want to know how to do it?
So ideally, because there's different ways.
Honestly, I'm not even about to let y'all, have to sit here and watch this whole video. But it just goes to show y'all on how ridiculous these things are and how, and I know, this is not to talk crazy about, individual that, is wearing this. I don't want y'all to ever think this is just something of changing ways. They're trying to change, that American way. That's something that I don't like. It's one thing with showing your culture. I love seeing that. When I visited, different countries and different even states, and just seeing, just how individuals were to do this and do that. And I think it's amazing. I truly think it's amazing. My thing is that everything that they're doing, they're trying to change New York into their country. You know what I mean? And it's sickening to me. It's sickening. It doesn't make sense. It truly doesn't make sense. And I don't see how people literally support this. I truly do not see how people support this, y'all. I don't know. Says here, Zohran Mamdani in charge of New York schools. Is a disaster waiting to happen. I don't know if y'all don't know, but it truly is. Check it out.
And there's a lot of things that Zohran Mamdani cannot do. He cannot freeze rent on his own as being mayor. He cannot put out free grocery stores by himself on that. He cannot raise taxes. He's going to need Albany to do so. Free bus fare doesn't exist without the MTA signing off on a lot of this. The most scariest part, I think, in real time would be dismantling the NYPD, taking the strategic response group down, taking funds from that department, allocating it to elsewhere. We know New York City needs to be one of the safest cities, obviously, here in America.
I would add to that he's in charge of the schools. That's probably the biggest concern that I have is him putting someone in charge of the schools who has no thought for academic performance and instead is trying to use the schools for social justice wars. And that is a major concern as well.
All right. Well said. Erica Donald joining us.
And not even that. I feel like there's so many other things that is, a very much so a concern. Honestly, you have so many individuals, like I said, that's leaving New York because of this, and it's definitely sad. Definitely sad. Check out what John has to say, y'all.
The mayor that has taken over New York City is a Muslim that's going to take down the city that never sleeps, the city of life's dreams, this city that our ancestors brought forth in prosperity and greatness and liberty. This city will turn into a forbidden place of darkness. The blood, sweat, and tears that the city of New York was built on will turn into a virtual refugee shelter for the radical Muslim ideology. This is now the most dangerous time for our citizens of New York. This mayor will destroy this city. We are obligated to demand our rights for our private sanctuary, our businesses, our property that we all have worked so hard for. And this 35-year-old mayor has no right dictating the rules of socialism for a city built on our highest principles with brick and stone by hardworking Americans. This must be stopped, and his mayoralty should be terminated immediately. You, the people of the greatest city, New York, are in danger of losing your city to this communist fool. We, the people, must stand for the greatest nation's purpose, the honor of our flag, the red, white, and blue, and for which it stands, one nation under God, and liberty and justice for all. This country, the United States of America, is the land of our greatest achievement, the American dream. And we, the people, have put our trust in the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. He and only he can stop this horror. As this Mayor Mamdani will try to destroy New York's wealth and turn it into a socialist crap city. Let this be a warning to the people. And may God bless.
I'm not even gonna lie. That right there, that 2 minutes, definitely support. Definitely support. Definitely real. When it comes down to it. I truly do not understand, and you can tell the frustration. You can tell a frustration with a lot of individuals that, have grew up in New York City and just seeing, just, you know what I mean? Just being around, and growing up and just having that. And then you just see on how bad over the years it has become, and not even just, ever since, Mamdani, it's saying Zohran Mamdani is going to, mess it up. I mean, honestly, it was going bad. I mean, I remember, like I've told you, I remember when I finally started doing these videos and a few years back. And I remember, it was all, having the illegal aliens in the hotels and, seeing different things. And I was confused at first. I didn't really know nothing about it. So I'm like, well, why is everybody, tripping about this if, individuals. But then I started to understand. And then I started to see and I started to wonder. And it's always been on my mind so heavy. This has always been on my mind because I have family members that's in the military, friends that's in the military, or, that's active or, obviously, that's, currently not in the military anymore. And you see on how bad they struggle. You see on how bad there's literally vets that's on the street, that's struggling, and trying to get benefits. And it's taking a long time for them to get benefits for housing, for food, for clothes, for travel. and you seeing so many things, you know, and then you see, you know, you have these illegal aliens, you know, come through, and they getting everything so quick. You know what I mean? And it's always on my mind. You know, I always try to pray, you know, for the homeless, you know, each time I pray, you know, I pray, you know, each time I'm in the shower, each time, you know, and during, you know, dinner. And I always pray, you know, I pray that, you know, that the homeless eat, and the homeless, you know, they have that warm, you know, it's just always on my mind, you know, and of course, you know, other things, but it's just like, bro, like, it's so many individuals that struggle trying to get so many benefits, just not the military, you know, since we on that, you know, there's so many individuals that are struggling trying to get, you know, those benefits, trying to get help, you know, and you having these individuals that, and a lot of individuals, you know, I'm not saying all, but most are literally, you know, they get to waving their flags and destroying and being destructive with the American flag and talking crazy and saying this and saying that, you know, and it's like being highly disrespectful, you know, to the United States, you know, a country y'all obviously ran to. You know, and it's mind blowing to me. I'm telling y'all, definitely. But y'all have here, President Trump announces a meeting with Zohran Mamdani that will be happening very soon. Check it out.
The mayor of New York, I will say, would like to meet with us, and we'll work something out. But he would like to come to Washington and meet, and we'll work something out. We want to see everything work out well for New York.
So one thing about it, y'all already know how President Trump feels about New York. That's one thing, one place, you know, I should say that he doesn't play about. You know, he definitely doesn't play about. You know, I truly remember, that was actually, the crazy thing is about this, you know, since we're talking about New York and President Trump, it was actually the first time I seen President Trump. I really didn't know who he was. The first time I seen President Trump was, you know, I tell y'all this all the time, that my favorite movie is Home Alone, Lost in New York. And I'm telling y'all, by far, you know, when it comes to Christmas, always gonna be playing in the Recklezz home. But one thing about it is that I know President Trump is one of those things you just gotta trust. And I'm sure y'all do, you know, but one thing about it is that he'll definitely get it together. And I actually can't wait. You know, I definitely can't wait. Make sure y'all stay tuned for more videos. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Catch y'all next one.